All right, we are running out of time, but I'd like to get both of your thoughts on the kind of broad topic of, again, this free and open Indo-Pacific concept, the shared both concerns from a security point of view and goals that Japan and Australia have, and how you think this relationship is going to play out to achieve those goals going forward. I'll ask you, Professor Tsuruoka, first.
I think the prospects are good for Japan and Australia cooperation because both countries are really committed to strengthen this partnership. But still, compared to China, the sheer size of Japan and Australia is very small. So we cannot do everything. And in both Japan and Australia, we have resource constraints. So Japan has been increasing defense budget substantially. But increase in defense budget has turned out to be a sort of an easier part. But the recruiting enough number of people, that is really more difficult. So how we could solve those problems, and that is a huge challenge. So despite the fact that there's a political willingness to spend more money on defense, still finding people is a remaining challenge. So and another a bit more broadly in strategic terms, we need to think about the balance of power between different sort of groups. So the group which champions freedom, democracy, so the US-led alliances, that of course includes Japan, Australia, South Korea, and other allies and partners. And but the relative power of that group might be declining a little bit. So in that context, how we could maintain our attractiveness in the views of, for example, Southeast Asians and other countries, so-called global South countries. So this is a sort of a global competition over ideas, over values, and so in that context, the prospect may not be too bright. So we need to think about that because the global balance of power has been shifting, not in favor of us, but in favor of China or other authoritarian states. So that is something that I'm very much concerned. But what Japan and Australia need to do remains same. So the strengthening defense posture and also the strengthening economy and managing alliances. So the challenges are.
It's holistic. It's not. It's about defense, but it's not only about defense. Understood. And Professor Satake.
Yeah, I totally agree what Professor Tsuruoka said. Like speaking balance of power, I think what's really important is how to restore kind of strategic equilibrium in this region. And if the current trend continues, I mean, if the US-China competition continues, then it's highly likely that two countries, I mean, between those status quo hegemon and rising revisionist power, will clash with each other. And that's what we call like a Thucydides trap. And Thucydides trap. And that's a nightmare for all countries, including Japan and Australia. So to avoid this situation, why don't we just broaden our strategic scope from Asia Pacific to broader Indo-Pacific so that more countries can actually join for the regional order buildings and to maintain the kind of or create a new balance of power in the region. I think that's really important for Japan and Australia. And that's the reason why, not only military cooperation, but also non-military cooperation, such as, economic development, capacity building, infrastructure development, important to enhance kind of regional resiliency. And so that they can cope with or accommodate the rise of China. And I think that's going to be more important.
So again, it's about taking a broader view of security, not just broadening it geographically, but broadening it kind of thematically, defense, economy, everything. All right. Well, it's been great speaking to you. Thanks very much for joining us. On behalf of Professor Tsuruoka, my co-host, I'm Jonathan Soble. I want to thank you for spending the time with us. Goodbye.